Good afternoon, lovely people. How are you all today? I hope you're well. I suddenly look a bit pale and ghostly, don't I, in this light? It's gone a bit grey. Funny day today. Sun in, sun out, sun in, sun out. But it's dry and it's mild. I don't know what the temperature is, but it's not freezing cold like it was the other day when that wind was cutting through everything. Oh my goodness. I'm still here after the other day when you saw me and I was dealing with the bindweed and that blasted raspberry cane. So this afternoon, actually it's a bit of a theme. I'm going to tackle another plant which has become a bit naughty and a bit invasive. When I planted it, I didn't know it was going to be invasive. It's coming out. I'll show you that when we get there. So I'm basically going to have a little play in the herb bed today, this afternoon. All the jobs I'm going to do, I would have ideally done at the end of September. You see this kind of recurring theme. Ideally, I would have done it, You know, sometimes you just can't do it when you'd like to. And it's not like, you know, ideally, I wish I'd harvested my tomatoes 3 months ago because now they're all on the ground rotting. It's not a big issue like that. It's just, you know, for the sake of the plants, it would have been better to do it before it got quite so cold. But never mind, this is the time I've got, so this is when it's going to happen. Now, because it's been such a beautiful day so far, well, relatively beautiful, there have been quite a few folk around today. It's lovely to catch up. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've seen about 8 plot neighbours today. It's lovely. And a little bit earlier on, when the sun was still out, I went over to M&M's plot just to have a little catch up. So you may have seen in an earlier video, I don't know, about 2 months ago, I showed you briefly a little bit of their plot. They're the ones with the beautiful, beautiful plot number sign. So while they were down today, I thought, is it okay? I asked them, can I come over and have a chat and see where you're at? And so I can show all of you guys as well. And I think I really wanted to share it with you because I just want to show what's possible in a really short space of time. So without further ado, let me show you over to their plot and see how far they've got in, when did they get it? End of June, so July, August, September, October. It's like 4 and a bit months. Let's go and have a look. Look at my long, long shadow. Oh, you can tell it's a bright day. And there are folk out and about making the most of it because we're not getting many days like this today. So I just asked them and they're okay with it. I'm going to give you a quick catch up with M&M. Afternoon, lady and gent. If you remember, this is M&M's plot. Gorgeous plot. How long have you guys been on the plot now?
Since June.
June, July, August, September, October. 4 and a bit months. Yeah. You have done so much. Look, look, look. So I think since the last time I came to have a nosy, you've been sorting out this top end quite a bit, haven't you?
Yeah.
What have you been doing? Come and show me what you've been up to.
So we had loads and loads of raspberries.
It's just, it was like raspberries. It was a raspberry plot basically, wasn't it? Look, there's still raspberries here, there. I think there were some here.
Yeah, there's some here.
Around the root,
massive
massive
ones there.
And then this whole end was raspberries.
Yep.
Gosh, you've got so much grass out because this was just a mat of grass, wasn't it?
Yeah, so basically half the plot was kind of, metre
Yeah.
high grass. So we dug it all out.
Oh, well done.
Then the idea is to get the raspberries to the back of the plot.
So you've
actually
put
under
up
control.
some supports for them?
Yep.
So, oh, these look really sturdy. Oh,
So,
nice job.
The benefit of having an allotment and getting gift vouchers.
Yeah.
So-
Who needs a spa day? Who needs a spa day when you can come and sweat it out down here?
And IKEA trolleys,
Yeah.
So
we've
transporting it
put-
from Forest Hill.
So we've put these up. They're not tightened yet, but
Look, you even have one of these proper hammer it in, unlike me with my lump hammer and a piece of wood.
well, if you ever need to borrow it.
Thank you.
But,
So posts in and then, oh look at this. This looks all very professional. And how do you tighten it? Do you just screw it and that will tighten the wire?
Other end, there's a screw. So this is clamped. eBay.
You two are fancy pants.
And
Best plot next year.
then, no, we've got too much competition for that. And then you screw it at the other end. But the
Yeah.
idea is the raspberry plants will all go at the back. So 2 rows of earlies,
1, 2 rows of earlies, right?
1 row of the autumn,
Autumn.
and then we're going to put up another one so that we can have summer climbing
Oh,
things,
lovely.
whether it's sweet peas or
Oh, lovely.
cucamelons or something.
Oh, cucamelons. Do you drink a lot of gin?
I've never managed to grow them.
And so, obviously, this is going to be your fruity bit.
Yep.
And then, so for the
And
rest
then-
of the plot, once these raspberries are all out,
Then sort out the size of the beds, make them a bit bigger and less grass.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is
so
quite.
filling in this bit, so getting rid of the grass here.
Oh, so this is all going to be bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when
So
Fantastic.
go for soil footpaths rather than grass because the grass just takes too much effort.
I'll do it for you. I like it. I like a bit of a strim and a trim. And then, so have you, obviously you've started some compost. Are you going to leave it here? Is this going to be
No.
your...
So that's because it was at the back.
Yeah.
So we've moved it here until the raspberries are out, and then the idea is to have a bit along in the middle where
Fantastic.
we'll have.
That actually, do you know what? That makes sense because most of us, we put our compost right at the end of the plot.
And then you spend all
so
the
then,
time walking.
yeah, so if it's in the middle,
Yeah.
you're never
half
too
you're
far
walking.
from it. That's great. So I should just say, M&M's plot ends where these trees are. So it's exactly the same as mine. It's a half plot. So the raspberries will be at this end, and that will mark the end of the plot. Then you have all your lovely composting.
Yep.
And isn't it great that you've had product out this year? So
Yeah.
obviously you had your beans and some tomatoes and gorgeous brassicas still
and
to
we've
come.
still got some lettuce,
it's
some
fantastic.
pak choy,
Oh no,
some beetroot, and then we've got the brassicas, although our sprouts have been a bit of a disaster.
Oh, don't talk to me about sprouts. I can't grow them to save my life. But it's honestly, it's a fantastic job, and it's a real testament to just getting stuck in, getting on with it. Are you loving it?
Yeah,
it's good fun.
such a
Yeah.
nice place to come.
We live in a flat, so
And it's worth now doing all the effort now to get it cleared properly, especially over the winter. And then next year, wow, you must be so excited to plan for next year.
Yeah.
We
A
already
full
are.
year.
Planning- planning
Brilliant.
hours.
and there's this person we know who's got a video. It's kind of useful as well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Do you find them useful?
Yeah, they are.
Bless you, I'm going to have to bleep that bit out. Oh no, that'll be a good lesson for me because I don't know how to do bleeping on my videos, so now I'll have to learn. Fantastic. All right, well listen, I know your time is short today. Everyone's got a job, everyone's working, but on days like today, what?
It's lovely.
We just have to grab the moment, don't we?
Yeah.
All right, well thank you so much for letting us come and have a look. It's
Pleasure.
looking so fantastic.
Feel free anytime.
Thank you, and I'll let you get back to it. And I need to go now. You know what I'm doing? I'm just delaying doing my own work.
Yeah.
Delay no longer. All right, guys. So nice to see you.
And you.
Thanks, Vivi.
So I hope you agree with me that I think they've done a really great job in a short space of time. They're the perfect example of just making that commitment to a little bit of time each week. You know, we've got now, I think it's 6 new plot holders. They all work, they all have, you know, a lot of life outside of the garden, but it seems like they've got a really good bunch of new people because they've all got that similar attitude of let's try and get down here at least once a week and just progress each week, progress, rather than that thing I was mentioning of you come once a month, you dig out a bed, you leave it, and a month later it's all full of weeds and grass again. And actually M&M's plot, it really was a bit of a gnarly plot when they got it. Couch grass, and it was just all a mat of grass and raspberries literally everywhere, a metre if not more high. So I think they've done really, really well. Yay. Oh, and another thing I was going to mention and I forgot to while I was over there, And again, this is the time of year that's perfect for doing it. Either if you've just got a new plot, or if you're developing a new area, for things like fruit, when you want, or anything that's climbing, is get the infrastructure sorted first. So whether it's a new plot or a new bed you're developing, don't plant your fruit, trees, canes, whatever it is, and then, you know, months down the line, then think about the supports, the wires, the climbing frame, whatever it is. Do that now before you put the plants in. It will be so much easier to do it now, and you'll be able to do a proper job, you know, get your poles firmly down into the ground without worrying about the roots of the trees or whatever it is you've already planted. So yes, there's my top tip for this winter. Sort out your infrastructure, whether it's your supports, your climbing frames, your paths, whatever it is. Do it now so that you hit the ground running when we get to spring. Right, now talking of hitting the ground running, because it's getting a bit chilly, I think it's time to go and tackle a few bits and pieces in the herb bed. Come on, put your wellies on. Can you see me? Well, you can see the issue here. I think it's pretty obvious. Here's my path. What's left of it? The rosemary and the sage are monsters. I pruned this back really hard in the spring. I mean, really hard back. I'm going to prune it again. Now, like I was saying, ideally, I would have done this in sort of late September after flowering. It's not the perfect time to do it now, in terms of it's going to be a bit of a shock. However, both these plants, they are so well established. I mean, they're thugs. If I let them alone, all I would have in my garden would be rosemary and sage. So because they are so well established and because they are such thugs, I can be a little bit brutal with it at this time of year. So I'm going to deal with this bit, and then coming around this side, again, I need to do some pruning, but I'm going to leave that till the spring. Because even though they are really well established and quite tough, I don't want to take masses, everything away today and give it a massive shock ahead of winter. So I'll just deal with this side. I mean, it's in the blooming cold frame, for goodness sakes. So, yeah, I am going to be really quite brutal with it. I use a combination of fresh and dried. So that big pruning I did in the spring, there was so much of it, most of it I saved and dried, and I've got just the last little remnants of it. So by the time I get this lot home and dry this lot, this should also keep me going for a goodly few months. You know, I'm kind of looking for little bits of new shoots to cut back to, but I think, to be honest, especially on this side, there's so much there that I am going to cut back probably into some sort of dead wood, as in I'm not going to expect it to sprout again, but that's fine because really I don't need it here. Okay, let's get stuck in. The smell, oh my goodness, it's beyond gorgeous. So yeah, I'm going to be just really quite indiscriminate, in fact. The beatings both these plants have taken over the years when I do my prunings, you know, it's kind of, it's sort of against everything in the rule books, as it were, but they just keep coming and coming and coming. But I would suggest probably that if you've got, you know, quite a, that's a thick stem. I could probably do with loppers. Oh yeah, no chance. Yeah, if you've got a much much younger, less established plant. Please don't be this heavy-handed with it. Oh, such a beautiful smell. The sage I use mostly for tea. I like to use it as a tea. I shouldn't really call it a tea, it's a tisane. Tisane? Anyway, yes, that's what I use it for mostly. The rosemary I tend to use in the bar. It's supposed to be good for both rheumatism and arthritis. So, for example, you can buy rosemary oil, the essential oil. You need to mix it with a carrier oil before applying it to your skin. Never ever rosemary oil straight on the skin. There are very few essential oils you should put straight onto your skin because it will burn you. So into a carrier oil and massage it into your poly joints. Rather than doing that, like I say, I quite like to bathe in it. So, oh, brutal, Vivi. So yeah, the dried stuff, tied into a little muslin bag, hang that over the tap as the bath is running. Gorgeous. I put it in the muslin bag so that I don't end up with a load of rosemary floating around me in the bath, or having to clean the bath afterwards. I mean, I clean the bath afterwards, but less detritus. Okay, let me carry on and get stuck into this. I think I'm going to have the wheelbarrow for the rosemary, there's that much of it. And then we can move on to the next job. Ooh, it's a bit better. I've got an absolute bucket full of sage, and look at this one. Isn't that beautiful? Gosh, I wish I could do scratch and sniff. The smell is unbelievable. There's masses. I am seriously lacking space at home for drying anything, but I will find somewhere. Right, I'm glad that's done. I think it's now time to move on to the St. John's wort. Oh, bunting down. So for the next job, I want to use one of my hugel cultures, which had the achocha in. So I've just finally taken the foliage out, and I suddenly thought, oh, it's probably high time to pack the bunting away. Can you hear me? Oh dear. It's definitely the end of summer, and it's in a right royal tangle. Hold on a sec. That's better. Also, while I'm here, just while I remember, let me put that there a second. Before we get really, really heavy frosts, it's time to think about, hopefully you've done it already, things like terracotta pots that aren't frost proof. Get them put away safely. Down here, I have my little Superman gnome. I'm not one for garden ornaments, but it was painted especially for me. He sits out all year, he's fine. But earlier this year, I was given my beautiful little ceramic, can you see her? My little reading gnome, my little garden reading gnome, which seems so apt for me. Now, I've no idea whether she's frost proof. I'm not going to risk it. So she's going to come indoors. I'm just going to balance her there for a minute. She's going to come indoors for the winter. And then because she was new this year, she'll become part of the routine each year of setting up for summer, when I put my bunting out, I put my deck chair out. Oh, I love that moment each year. It's usually around the time of the French Open at Roland Garros. I'm excited for next year already. Right, I'll finish this and then we're going to move into the herb bed and get a plant out. Right then, in the herb bed, this is all the purple hyssop. I've left all the seed heads on for now. I'm not actually sure if there are any birds that like them, but I decided to leave them until I look that up. I mean, if there's nothing's going to eat them over the winter, I'll prune. That's the white hyssop, which did have a bit of a prune because it was really encroaching on. There's a chamomile down there. I will give them another prune come the spring, just so I make sure that chamomile is okay. Down here, what's great is I planted one of my really, really weedy seedlings. It came up a little bit, had a couple of flowers. Oh, that's a weed next to it. Had a couple of flowers. It's obviously dropped seed because now I can see about 7 little seedlings down there. Fabulous. And just while we're here, you know, here we are in the middle of November. It's gone really, really grey suddenly. But the colours and all the textures in the herb bed, they're an absolute delight, even now at this rather grotty time of year. And just things like the bricks in the path. I'm so glad I put that path in this year. Obviously it's practical for me to sort of step onto for harvesting, but because I've used old bricks, they're already weathered and, you know, it's taken the edge off them. Are you in the way, Vivi? Oh, look, there we go. But it's just that lovely bit of colour, a bit more texture. Anyway, rather than waxing lyrical about that, that's my plant label. I'm going to chuck it onto the deck. The St John's wort, is being a bit of a tinker. Now, when I planted it, oh my goodness, herein lies the lesson. Check, check, check. I didn't realise, oh, another little weed. I don't really weed the herb bed very often. It's normal, you know, it's been pretty good. Anyway, sorry. Yes, check, 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 check what the plant is going to do, because it is trying to take over everywhere. I cut it back hard, September maybe, August even, to see what it would do, and it really wants to come. Now, I still haven't decided quite whether I really want it. I haven't decided the best way to use it. I'm still sort of toing and froing and experimenting and what have you. So I don't want to get rid of it completely, but I want it out of the herb bed. I think it's going to be tricky. Oh, look, it's going to lift the blooming path. But what I thought was I'll pop it in one of the hugel cultures, because then at least it's contained. I'm going to try and stand on the bit of path it's trying to lift. I don't really want to damage the hyssop, but, well, let's see how we go. So yeah, it's the lesson for us all, isn't it? I mean, I don't know why I didn't do some proper looking up. That's very unlike me. When I do new things, I do like to do my looking up. I'm sure I would have looked it up, but perhaps where I looked it didn't. It was hiding the truth from me. So, yeah, as you can see, let me just show you this bit. That's obviously, it's made like a sort of a new little runner coming off. Goodness me, I have a feeling that no matter what I do today, yeah, I've got a feeling I'm going to have St John's wort in this bed forever and ever from now on. Look, oh my goodness, that's all the way over there. Well, let's get out as much as I can today, and then just have to keep an eye on it. Sorry, hyssop. Oh, I'm being really brutally manhandly with everything today, woman-handly. Ay caramba! Gosh, it's put down some roots. It's one of those days where I could do with a second pair of hands. Someone on the fork and someone on the clump. Ah, shaky, shaky, shaky. Yeah, let's have a look at these roots, what they've done. Wow, that was soil level. Look at that. That plant that was a teeny tiny, not much more than a seedling, a plantlet 18 months ago. And I've really hacked it. Let's just dump it there for a minute and have a little fork. Yeah, I think there's trouble ahead. Oi, 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 oi. Well, like I say, just keep an eye on it. It's a lesson learned, isn't it? I don't know what I'm going to put in its place. I'm just going to squash that bit down that's next to the path. Keep the path in place. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to put in its place, if anything, because obviously the lavender their spread is sort of this in the summer. Obviously the hyssop spread. It might be a case that, oh look at that, more of its root. It might be a case that the idea, hopefully, with this bed eventually is that the chamomile just self-seeds everywhere. They can all compete with each other, and I reckon chamomile and lavender will win. That's fine by me. Okay, let's put this in its new home. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's a monster. Come to your new home. Right then, here's your new home. Let's see, do I need to make the hole any bigger? I don't think so. Judging by the way it grew in the herb bed, I don't think it's too fussed about the quality of soil it's in. But if you remember back in the early part of the spring, when I was making these little mini hubel cultures, the bottom sort of about 3 inches was really thick brassica stalks that I chopped up a bit, and some twigs. When I say twigs, some of them were actually more like sticks chopped up in the bottom. Then I had a layer of another couple of inches of the chopped up, really chunky parts of the flint corn from last year still. Then just a bit of garden soil, which I mixed a load of the flint corn foliage in with, hopefully to help with draining. And then there was just a little tiny bit of compost in the top. And I got some very nice chocolate from it. And hopefully the St John's wort will be happy in there as well, because it's a beautiful plant and, you know, it is a useful plant. So I think what I'll do is I'll continue to think about how I want to use it. And if I think it's worth it, I'll keep it. If not, I'll give it away and put something else here. But yeah, good. Oh, the deck is looking so bare. Okay, what's next? Have a little think, Vivi. I could go to sleep. Oh my goodness. Look, welly's off. Getting nice and comfy. I've got to say, I love the work at this time of year. It's so fab. It's so satisfying because there's no pressure. There's no pressure on any of it. It's like, you know, in the summer and the autumn, there's always the pressure to make time for harvesting, for watering, for getting the produce home, for processing it. There are so many jobs in the summer and the autumn which are sort of, they're time sensitive. They need to get done to get that harvest. And then we get to this time of year and I do whatever I want. There's no, you know, The plants that are going to be in all winter, the brassicas, carrots, parsnips, what have you, they're doing their own thing. They don't need me to do anything. They don't need any help from me. They're getting on with it. And all the other jobs, well, I'll just do them when I get to them. So that's what I mean. There's just no pressure at this time of year. I know I've been saying that I feel really behind, and you know, I'm just getting myself really comfy. This mattress, it's great. Yeah, I know I've said quite a few times that I feel behind, but I suppose what I'm trying to say is I feel behind in terms of where I've been at this stage in previous years. And that whole like ditch the green manure idea, oh, it's such a weight, it's such a relief. That's a massive pressure off. I hadn't really thought about that until the other day when I was chatting about it when I was doing the flint corn, but it really has made a huge difference to the pace at this time of year and how I feel at this time of year. It's fab. So yes, I shall carry on pottering away and closing the beds that need to be closed. On my way here this morning, I came a slightly different route just to check on leaf litter, and there's loads. So I'm not sure when I'll get to do it, but in the next few days, we are due some more rain. Whatever. But in the next few days, I'm going to get my barrow, put in it one of my 1-ton bags, get my rake on my shoulder, leave the site, march off down the road, find my little lane, and go raking up some leaves. Oh, can't wait. So, yeah, I think what am I trying to say? Oh, it's this mattress. Honestly, it's so soporific. The light is massively going. You won't be able to pick it up on the image, but it's really, really going now, so I need to get a skedaddle on. But I think all I'm trying to say is, you know, if there's a dry day, even if it's a bit chilly, don't put off those jobs. Get out there, get stuck into them, because honestly, once you've done them, you'll feel great. You'll feel so pleased with yourself for making the effort. But also it's one less job to do next year, whatever, and you can go about it with a much more relaxed attitude, because, you know, if you don't do it today, or let's say if it takes you 4 or 5 hours to do it, well, so what? Because there's not that much else in the garden to worry about, is there? So get that notepad out, make a list of your jobs, find a dry day, and make the most of the bits and bobs of sunshine that we are experiencing still. Yay! I'm going to sleep well tonight. Right, on that note, shall I have a little sleep in here? No. The temperature is dropping and it's going to be dark soon, so I'm going to say cheerio to you all. Thank you so much for coming along and hanging out with me in the garden today. It's been a joy as always. So until next time, please look after yourselves, look after your friends who are poorly and can't look after themselves at the moment, look after your family, just look after everything, and I'll see you again really soon, I hope. Until then, cheerio for now.